Welcome back, Fear Fiends, to the Chillergeist Horror League. We're diving headfirst into the shaky world of found footage, where the terror is raw, unedited, and oh, so delicious. Today, we've got a match for the ages, a clash of two masters of invisible dread. In the corpse blue corner, we have the entity from Marble Hornets, a faceless specter of digital decay. And in the blood red corner, the queen of the woods herself, the terrifying Blair Witch. Boris, I can almost feel the static in the air.
Affirmative, Doctor. We are observing a significant perceptual ambiguity matchup. Both subjects operate with a high obscuration index, making statistical analysis of direct engagement challenging. However, their fear induction metrics are robust and well documented. This promises a high-yield, existential dread event.
Precisely. But before we dive into the numbers that define their terror, let's look at the career trajectories of our two terrifying contenders. First up, in the blood red corner, the legendary Blair Witch, the unseen architect of terror from the Black Hills of Beckettsville. A true pioneer of this very subgenre, haunting our screens and our imagination since the late 90s. Boris, what do you make of her longevity and foundational impact on the genre?
Subject Blair Witch's operational lifespan is statistically impressive, Doctor, having established a found footage archetype with a 99.8% genre-defining impact factor. Her adaptability coefficient is minimal, as her core methodology remains highly effective. Her consistency rating for primal fear remains at a statistically significant 97.4%. Demonstrating robust survivability in a fluctuating audience fear threshold environment. Her brand recognition is universally high, even among subjects who have not directly experienced her primary narrative.
Exactly. She's a true force of nature, a mythological beast brought to terrifying life through the lens of a single camera. She doesn't need jump scares or gore. She weaponizes our own imagination against us. And then, in the corpse blue corner, we have the modern master of digital dread, the entity from Marble Hornets.
Subject the entity, originating in the late 2000s, displays a remarkably high transmedia impact factor of 9.5, indicating immediate and profound audience resonance across multiple digital platforms. His tactical evolution metric has been dynamic, adapting from physical stalking to digital corruption and environmental distortion. This has resulted in a stable brand consistency across his narrative appearances and spin-offs. His future prospects remain robust, contingent upon the continued exploration of digital contagion and online narrative expansion.
Precisely. We have the primordial terror of the woods versus the sleek, modern dread of the internet. The master of isolation versus the architect of digital haunting. Who truly dominates? After this brief look at their careers, we'll dive deep into the numbers that define their terror. Stay tuned for the tale of the tape. Welcome back to the Chillergeist Horror League. Boris, the tale of the tape, is ready. Let's start with a classic, total confirmed kills.
Subject Blair, which boasts a confirmed kill count of 3 across her primary cinematic appearances. This translates to an average of 1.5 subject terminations per film, a low-yield yet highly impactful output. Her kills are typically preceded by prolonged psychological distress and emotional degradation, maximizing premortality anguish metrics. Conversely, Subject the entity's direct mortality count is 5 across its documented web series narrative. However, his non-fatal psychological damage ratio is notably higher, as many subjects undergo non-lethal, yet permanent, mental and emotional reconfigurations.
The nuance of art. The Blair Witch is a patient hunter, savoring the slow burn of her victim's sanity, and the entity aims for total deconstruction, not just termination. Fascinating. What about kill efficiency rating? Who gets the job done faster once the terror begins?
Analyzing active screen time. Subject Blair, which maintains a calculated 0.05 termination events per active screen minute. Subject the entity, conversely, averages 0.1 subject reconfigurations per minute once digital contagion parameters are met. While both are low, the entity demonstrates higher efficiency.
So the Blair Witch savors the build-up, and the entity, well, it gets right to the point. Delicious. Next, weapon versatility score. Who has the broader toolkit?
Subject Blair Witch's weapon utilization versatility is exceptionally low, Doctor, with a single method of subject termination being non-physical manipulation. Conversely, Subject the entity's tool utilization is primarily focused on a signature dimensional ingress, with a varied method count of 3, including physical stalking, digital corruption, and environmental manipulation.
The Blair Witch is a master of one single, terrifying tool, while the entity is a tech-savvy horror. Both exquisite in their own way. What about their durability and resurrection count?
Subject Blair Witch's durability is largely theoretical, as her physical form remains unquantified. Her remanifestation count, after apparent banishing rituals, is 1. Subject the entity, a being of dimensional integrity, also renders traditional termination metrics inapplicable. His remanifestation count, after apparent banishing rituals, is 2, indicating a higher durability factor.
A being of myth versus a being of static. Fascinating. Preferred pursuit method and speed?
Subject Blair, which exhibits non-Euclidean movement patterns within her territorial operational zone. Her teleportation to target acquisition rate is 98.2%. Subject: the entity maintains a deliberate cadence of 0.5 miles per hour, but his direct engagement success rate upon manifestation is 99%.
The Blair Witch flows like liquid terror, always where you least expect her. The entity, however, brings its terror to you. Now, signature sound/catchphrase impact.
Subject: Blair Witch's auditory taunt score an average 9.1 on the verbal psychological distress index, augmented by a distinctive, unsettling laughter cadence. Subject: the entity's vocalizations, characterized by low-frequency resonance and complex, static ejaculations, achieve an 8.9 on the same index, generating existential discomfort, rather than overt fear.
The Blair Witch's chilling laughter is the sound of your sanity snapping. The entity's words are the sound of a glitch in the universe. Boris, stealth/ambush proficiency?
Subject: Blair Witch exhibits an unparalleled 99% in territory ambush success rate, leveraging environmental manipulation and subconscious projections. Subject: the entity rarely employs stealth tactics, preferring to announce his arrival via static manifestation. His dimensional manifestation rate is 92%, making overt concealment redundant.
The Blair Witch is the master of the jump scare within your own mind. The entity is the horror that arrives when summoned, demanding attention. Finally, the overall fear factor/iconic presence score.
Based on a preliminary Chillergeist consensus poll and critical analysis, subject: the entity maintains a 9.5 primal terror coefficient, particularly due to his pervasive influence over the subconscious and his unique blend of psychological and digital sadism. Subject: Blair Witch registers a 9.3 existential dread coefficient, derived from her intellectual menace and the fundamental horror of her dimensional paradigm. The entity, being a more modern and pervasive terror, has a slight edge in this category.
Excellent, Boris. Now, for my favorite part, the artistry of terror. Let's talk about the elegant dance of dread, starting with stalking prowess, who demonstrates the patient, silent grace of a hunter.
Subject: Blair Witch's stalking efficiency score is a remarkable 97.8% within her designated territorial architecture, largely due to minimal vocalization and manipulation of subconscious pathways. Subject: the entity's proximity acquisition is typically initiated via digital contagion or pre-established pact adherence. His stalking phase is effectively replaced by dimensional ingress, resulting in a 100% target engagement rate once conditions are met. No wasted energy in pursuit.
Efficient, but less of the cat and mouse thrill. Now, psychological play. Does the villain truly toy with their prey, orchestrating a symphony of terror before the final curtain?
Subject: Blair Witch consistently achieves an average pre-termination psychological distress rating of 9.4, primarily through auditory manipulation, environmental distortion, and the activation of latent subconscious fears. Subject: the entity's experiential deconstruction rating averages 9.1. His methods induce ontological disorientation and sensory overload, rather than conventional fear.
Magnificent. Now, weapon selection and execution. Is the weapon an extension of their will, chosen for its aesthetic impact as much as its lethality? And the kill itself, is it a messy splatter or a purposeful, decisive act?
Subject: Blair Witch's tool utilization is highly variable, often adapting to the territory's inherent malleability. Her aesthetic impact score for individual kills is 8.8. Subject: the entity's digital manipulation demonstrates optimal precision to lethality ratio, with a target dissection accuracy of 99.5%. His aesthetic impact score for experiential reconfigurations is 9.2.
The entity creates living sculptures of agony, utterly divine. Next, territory dominance. Does the villain command their environment, making the very air shiver with their presence?
Subject: Blair Witch exhibits a 100% environmental control factor within her designated territorial operational zone. Her domain is absolute and adaptive. Subject: the entity's interdimensional control factor is also 100% within the digital configuration and associated pain realm egress points. His presence defines the very geometry of torment.
He doesn't just dominate his territory, he is the territory. Finally, signature flair. What's that personal touch that separates the common killer from the truly iconic?
Subject: the entity's post-termination quip delivery is statistically unique, with a humor-to-horror conversion rate of 0.8. His iconic presence score is 9.6. Subject: Blair Witch's vocalizations, characterized by low-frequency resonance and complex, philosophical enunciations, achieve an 8.9 on the same index. Her iconic presence score is 9.4.
There you have it, fear fiends. Two titans of terror, each a master of their craft. The Blair Witch, the playful demon of the woods, a master of psychological torment and chaotic artistry. And the entity, the elegant arbiter of sensation, bringing existential torment with surgical precision. Who takes the crown in this Chillergeist Horror League matchup? You decide, but for me, the art of terror was on full display.